Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Nicholas Pythagoras, and on this YouTube channel we ask the question, how does the truth manifest itself in the real world? Or how do human values manifest themselves in the real world? And today I have an interesting video for you guys. I was recently on a trip, a family trip, and we went to the beach, which is why, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a little bit sunburnt on my nose. But for the past couple of weeks, I've been contemplating and meditating upon the metaphysics, the symbolism of light, and by extension, colors, which I'll leave the majority of colors for another video, but I will mainly focus on light and how different cultures utilize light. First, I want to define that that light is the interpretation of goodness in a culture, whereas darkness is the interpretation of evil in a culture. I believe this is pretty self-explanatory. I think you can see the symbolism of light and darkness and how it relates to that, but I want to touch upon the different utilizations, how light is used and projected upon in different cultures. So, for example, I was in church yesterday and last week, and I was contemplating. I was seeing how the light was being used in Roman Catholicism. And if you look at the window in a Roman Catholic cathedral or a church, the light penetrates the stained glass window. It really permeates the window. And I believe this is representative of the Western understanding of light, where it's like, if we are taking light to be goodness, then then Western civilization wants God or goodness to permeate our souls. It wants to leave no area untouched. It wants to have everyone exposed to goodness, and no area is being left untouched. And to further my point, if you look at Western civilization, a lot of it, especially Spanish architecture, it is very white. It is the color white is used a lot in Western architecture. And if you think of the science of white, and that's white with a W, not light, but if you think of the science behind whiteness, white reflects goodness. White reflects the light, whereas black absorbs the light. So if we're taking light as goodness, and we are taking white as reflecting that goodness, we can say that not only does white reflect, not only does the light bounce off the white color, which again leaves no area untouched, but it also is symbolic in that if we are also supposed to represent God, if God is the light, then we are supposed to reflect his light. So it's also symbolic in that way. If you look at different cultures, for example, the Middle Eastern culture, if you look at Eastern architecture such as mosques in Islam, they let very little light through, and it's kind of dark there. So this, and I'm borrowing an idea from Spengler here, but as Spengler puts it, it's kind of like a cavern-like dome, and this dichotomy between the light and the darkness represents the internal conflict in the soul, the battle between good and evil. And you can see that representative in Eastern Orthodoxy, in mosques, and Eastern Catholic architecture. For example, the Byzantine Rite from the Byzantine Empire. And I want to touch upon not necessarily the architecture, but the understanding of light and darkness in Asian, more Oriental cultures. If you think of the Tao and Taoism, it basically is saying that the light can't exist without the darkness, and the darkness can't exist without the light. They see an essence, a being in darkness, whereas the Western understanding of darkness is that it's a deprivation of light. That evil is a deprivation of good. That evil isn't a thing in and of itself, whereas the Eastern Oriental cultures believe that evil is like a being in and of itself. But I also want to say that when you think of this Tao and like that synchronicity principle where the light can't exist without the darkness and the darkness can't exist without the light, it's not coincidental that the Chinese were the first to discover negative numbers. And if you look at the Asian understanding of evil, for example, the Asian film that comes to mind is The Grudge. It's like a horror film, and it's basically essentially that an evil spirit comes alive, that it is its own being, whereas, well, it's produced by the evil intentions or the evil, like if someone holds like evil, like a grudge, essentially, or evil hatred, anger in his heart upon their death, it manifests itself into a being, the grudge. And so, again, when you look at this Asian understanding of darkness, the darkness is its own being. That's why they were the first to discover negative numbers. Like, negative numbers don't exist in real life because, they're negative. But they were the first to discover that because they believe that the darkness has its own being. Now, what does this have to do with my beach trip? So basically, I went to the beach yesterday with my family, and it was absolutely amazing. And I was contemplating how light, for example, the sky is blue, okay? And the water reflects that. Now, as we were talking about, if God is representative through the light, if goodness is represented through the light, then we are supposed to also reflect that light back at God. We're supposed to reflect God's light, and God is the source. But the importance of the color blue, it's very interesting to note that blue, the first instance I had of encountering an explanation for the color blue is that whenever people wear blue, it makes them appear more innocent. It's a psychological thing. And I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. I don't know how valid that is, but it seems kind of interesting. But upon further investigation, there's certain things, like, for example, blue, I'm just going to say, like, straight up, blue represents the idea of childlike innocence, and we can see this because, well, one of the colors for blue is baby blue, so it's in our language, baby blue. But not only that, but I would even say that, God says that you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven unless you're like that of a child. A child is very obedient, and blue represents that childlike innocence. Not only that, but the sky is blue, and heaven is thought to be in the sky. When I was with my family, I was kind of half joking, kind of like expecting the answer, but I was asking them, because we speak Spanish, what is the word for heaven in Spanish? And my mother said cielo. And then I asked her, what's the word for sky in Spanish? And she said cielo. Cielo as in like ceiling. But again, this idea of like heaven being in the sky and the sky being blue, and Jesus saying that you can't enter the kingdom of heaven if you are, you can only enter the kingdom of heaven if you're like that of a child. It's pretty much like it's all like connected. It's all coming together. And blue is that representation of that idea of childlike innocence. Also with the phrase baby blue. Hence why I'm wearing blue in this video. But that's pretty much all I can remember for right now. But if you guys enjoyed this video and you guys enjoy the content on this YouTube channel, we talk about metaphysics, phenomenology, how the human values and the truth manifest themselves in the real world. We talk about human consciousness and what things symbolize. I am interested in making a video of going further in depth regarding colors and what the colors represent psychologically. But other than that, yeah, that's the end of the video, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.